Man, welcome. Finally excited, man, to be on our first episode of the Straight Hoopin podcast. You got myself, Coach Lasker, and then I got my co-host with me, Coach Stanley Malcom. This has been a long time coming. We've been talking about this for a while. I'm
Man,
excited to have Stanley on here. I'm gonna let him give y'all a little bit about his background and kind of speak on himself a little bit, just so y'all can know him, and then I'll come back and talk about me. Stanley, let the people know a little something about you, man.
number one, it's an honor to be on here with Aunt Lasker, the great. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm Stanley Malcolm, man. I'm from Chicago. I play high school ball at Chicago Bogan High School for Coach Goody, man. Rest in peace, Coach Goody. Um, and then I'll play college ball at Shawnee Community College for Coach Sparks. And after my 2 years at JUCO at Shawnee, I played at Williams Baptist with Coach Josh Austin. Um, Then after I finished playing college ball, I was the assistant coach there for 5 years, uh, which was fun. It was a ride. It was a lot I learned in that 5 years. Definitely being on a different side of playing and coaching is two different things. So had to learn that. And then after my 5 years at Williams Baptist, um, I did 2 years at Hot Springs with Coach Ant Lasker, Trey Lennox, uh, Coach Chase White. Yep. So it was definitely a fun ride. Now I'm here at Marion High School with Dave. So
Okay, man, that's good, man. We glad to have you, man. Me and you done had many conversations about ball, just talking it up, chopping it up about basketball, and things that we see, and different strategies and things of that nature, man. So we kind of wanted to provide a platform where we could talk about what we know, and that's basketball. We're gonna talk about all things basketball on this platform. And just to give a little history about myself, man, I'm Coach Ant Lasker. Played my high school ball at Little Rock McClellan for Coach Three. Played college ball for 2 years as a walk-on at UAPB. Was part of the 2010 SWAC championship team. That also played in the NCAA tournament, won a play-in game, and then lost to Duke, who was the eventual national champs. So they beat us and they beat everybody else too. So I don't feel too bad about that loss. Uh, but after college, man, graduated, started teaching in Little Rock School District, coached at McClellan, was able to bring a state championship to my alma mater in 2015. Got hired a couple years later as the assistant at High Springs. A couple years after that, became the head coach, and I've been at High Springs as the head coach for the last 5 seasons. We've had some success. We've had some up and down years during COVID, but overall, man, I think we've done a good job in it with that program, and having guys like Aaron Cooper, Anthony Watkins, aka Big Country, uh, Malcolm when he came and filled in for us, running our junior high program and helping out with varsity. Coach Trey Lennox, Coach Chase White, Ryan Morrow, Coach Bates. All of those guys that have impacted our program and our kids down in High Springs. But that's enough with the introductions, man. We gonna get down to the nitty gritty. So we wanted to talk about the state of basketball, and how we see it. And we want to start off talking about, I guess, we'll pinpoint youth basketball. And, uh, you know, my question to you, Malcolm, is, how do you feel, what do you feel about the skill levels and the skill sets of kids at the youth level, high school level, uh, as far as basketball goes?
man, skill level of basketball, man, it definitely has changed. Um, I think a lot of people see a lot of one-on-one videos and individual moves, and they take that as skill. Um, Moves don't make you skilled. It's being able to score on all three levels, being able to get to your spot against pressure, against real defense, understanding when and when not to dribble, not just wasting dribble. So skill has changed, man. I think with all these videos and so many trainers, uh, not knocking it, but it's changing. It's changing. So the definitely the missing art is the feel for basketball. It's been taken away a little bit because everybody want to show, oh, I can do this move just like Dame or just like Steph or just like James Harden. So um, man, it's we missing a lot of fundamentals in there. That's just across the U.S., man.
So you mentioned feel. Where do you think that feel comes from that's missing? And I'll say this, while you think about that, my opinion on that part is, I think feel came from just hooping, being
Uh-huh.
outside on the concrete slab, playing against older guys, maybe being at the community center. I remember growing up in Little Rock, being at Southwest Community Center, getting beat up, being 12, 13 years old, getting beat up on by older guys, and just learning how to play the game, because if you didn't play the game the right way, they wasn't gonna pass you the ball. And
Uh-huh.
so I feel like that's a big part of it. And so I just wanted to get your opinion on what you thought. Where does that feel? Where does that lack of feel come from, and how can we improve that to grow our game?
Man, that's one of the you hit the nail on the head, man. He's playing a lot of ball, definitely against older guys, and then the older guys actually holding them young guys accountable, man. So many people, because they're the best player on their team, they miss that part of the game. Um, but definitely they got to get back out there and start playing against older guys. I learned a lot of it outside, just playing outside, not playing in the inside gym, getting outside to where when you get fouled, you hit the concrete. So you got to play under control. That was one of the things that I learned. It was a huge lesson. I learned it early. Like, man, you got to be under control. You can't just go jumping in the air and thinking you going to just because you're athletic, that's going to get the job done. Like, no, you gotta learn how to play on the ground a little bit. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, playing against older guys, just developing that feel, and then just playing meaningful games. Um, watching a lot of young guys play open gym and just watching them hoop. They just play one-on-one ball. Like they literally want it to be like Rucker, like in New York. They want you to let them dribble 300 times, just one-on-one versus they man. If they score, they score. If they don't, they don't. Ain't no help side. Ain't nobody rotating. They just kind of out there to show off. Hey, I've been working on these moves. This is what I can do. And then whenever they get back to a regular basketball setting, half of what they've been doing don't work. So um, it's just meaningful, man. You got to play a lot of meaningful games with older people all the time, and that's got to be who you are, and that's how you develop that consistency over the time. Not just, oh, when I go to this gym, um, I'm Curry and I can do whatever I want to do. And then when I go to this gym, all right, now I got to play organized basketball, man. They got to get away from that and just play the right way all the time.
So I agree. And so outside of, seeing those things and understanding that, these kids are YouTube generation where all they watch is highlights. A lot of kids don't watch basketball. I've had several that I've coached over the years where you may ask them about a big game and they'll just tell you straight up, Coach, I don't even, and they may be good and they'll tell you, Coach, I don't even watch basketball. You know
Man,
what I'm saying? You like, man, what? Really? Like, but it's a different generation, and I don't down them for that. We not bagging on this generation of kids for how they go about doing things. Like I say, this podcast is all about trying to help grow the game. And so with what we just got through talking about, I want to transition into the parents. What role, positive or negative, do you feel like the parents play in in this individualistic mindset? Man, that's a good word right there, boy.
man,
I
it
don't
is.
even know
Look
if
at
that's in the
you in your
dictionary, but
bag. In
I'm in my bag with that word right there now. What with this individual mindset that these kids have, what role do parents play that they may not even understand that they play, positive or negative, in that mindset that these kids have today?
Man, I'm glad what you just said right at the end is big, because I don't want parents to feel like we targeting them.
Yeah.
But uh, the positive or negative, I think we we all as parents in some way try to live through our kids. And some people they want better for their kids than what they had. And and others they selfishly just want it for themselves. Um, and I think that's sometimes without fixing the root of a lot of parents' problems, they mess up them kids. So I'll use an example of someone 40 years old. When they was in high school, they coach didn't let them do this move or let them take that shot. So now all they want to do is see their kid do this move and take that shot. And any coach that don't let them do that, they think is a horrible coach.
Mm-hmm.
Which that ain't true. So I think a lot of these parents got to let go of their own personal pain and stop trying to live through their kids for what they wasn't able to do and let their
Mm-hmm.
kids develop in their own way and kind of just guide them and show them what it takes to get to that next level. But some of it maybe it's maybe that they never got to that next level. So
That's
um,
true.
I think
And I'll go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. I mean, I was just gonna take it a step further and say that, I feel like that some parents are so afraid to let their kids fail. You know what I'm saying? That's why they so hands on. And it's nothing wrong with a hands on parent. I respect the heck out of a LeVar Ball. I respect the heck out of all dads, moms, dads that are involved in their kids' process, involved in their kids' lives. Because as we know, coaching is some kids that don't have that support. That
Mm-hmm.
wish they had that support, and so that we not bagging on the parents that are there, but some parents are what we call in the coaching profession to be helicopter parents,
Mm-hmm.
and they need to understand, trust your coaches, trust what we have planned for these kids, and then also, it's okay to let little Timmy fail. It's all right if he don't score 20. It's all right if he don't shoot all the shots. It's all right if he learn how to play the game the right way, because that's gonna benefit him in the long run. That's gonna benefit his game when if he's at the youth level, when he get to middle school and high school, and he have a coach like yourself or me that's gonna make him play the game the right way, then he'll know what that looks like. If he get to college, and I've had, talked to some parents on Twitter about, I feel like, defense is probably the most important thing to understand going into college, because most of these college teams gonna have bucket getters returning. They're gonna have guys that's already they leading scorers. But if you can come in at a college level and defend, because it's difficult. Uh, but if you can come in at a college level and defend at a high level, then you're more likely to be able to get on the court. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of coaches ain't just turning over their offense to no incoming freshmen. A lot of freshmen not ready for that load to even be able to handle that. And so if the parents trust what the coaches have in store and what they trying to do and and how they trying to groom their sons or their daughters, then I feel like, their relationship, between the animosity that the parent, like you say, the parents may feel like the coaches can't coach, or whatever the case may be, just because we not letting your son rock out, as they like to say.
Mm-hmm.
You not letting my son play his game, as they like to say. Well, your son playing his game may mean he might have 20 points, but he also might have 10 turnovers. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not willing to sacrifice his 20 points for them 10 turnovers. I'm not. So I'd rather him play the game the right way, get his teammates involved, defend hard on the other end. You know how I operate, and I know how you
Mm-hmm.
operate. We allow freedom, offensive freedom, as long as you're gonna play hard on the other end. We can live
Mm-hmm.
with whatever mistakes you're gonna make. So I feel like some parents, just let your kids fail. It's okay. It's all right if they fall on their face a little bit, because then they're gonna be equipped with what's necessary when you're not around and they get faced with adversity. When they go to college them first couple weeks and they hate that man that promised them all this stuff and recruited them, because he ain't that same guy once you get on campus. That ain't the same dude that came and sat in mama living room and told you the Jews the best thing since sliced bread. Once he
Mm-hmm.
gets you on campus, he ain't finna be that same nice guy you talk to. But
Mm-hmm.
then, you know, they know how to handle that now. They understand what come with that because they've seen that adversity, they faced that adversity, and so that's one thing that I wanted to chime in on as far as the parents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
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 so go
and
ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and hop in right here. I'm so many kids, man. So many because of what we're talking about. So many people, and when this might lead over to another topic, but so many kids when they do get to that next level, when they do get to college, and I seen it because I was recruiting college. Um, and you see it all the time with so many kids, even in Arkansas, where they go to high school and they don't get that playing time. Uh, so many people, and this just may be characteristics of a man or a woman. So many people don't know how to lose a battle but still win a war, and that's a missing art within kids. And when you get to that next level, like you said, when you first get there, you lose so many battles. You ain't never conditioned the way they gonna condition you. Probably ain't never lift the way they finna make you lift. You ain't never played on the team with dudes that's just flat out better than you. So every day you might be losing battles against a senior point guard, or losing battles against that coach when he puts you through that 45-minute individual workout. He just wearing you out. You may be losing battles, but you still got to get up and win the war. And when you see kids don't play at that next level, that's what they not able to do. And that's why this transfer portal has taken off, because I can get a kid who ready, who know how to win, who know how to win a war. Like, they not just gonna come in here and be front runners and just try to play the game only when it's good. Like, they gonna go through the battle, through the adversity, and they gonna do it even when it's bad. So I I think if I was a high school kid right now, if my kid was in high school and I was a parent, my kids got to learn how to lose a battle, but win a war. Like, that's part of it. And if you don't ever learn that, by the time you get to the next level, you'll be transferring to another school every other year, trying to figure out what coach gonna let you do whatever you want to do. So,
Yeah, and man, listen, and you don't open up a whole nother can talking about that. That portal is an episode in itself. That's a whole that portal a whole nother episode in itself. Because I mean, you can you could talk, and not all kids that enter the portal, it's not because of them not being able to handle adversity. Some just, maybe you made the wrong decision in the school you chose. Maybe you thought you was getting some and didn't get it, didn't get what you thought you was getting. Maybe things happen on campus. It could be a bunch of different reasons. So everything, I think a lot of people get caught up just thinking that, well, this kid transferred because he ain't tough enough to handle this at this level, or he ain't tough enough. That's not always the case, and I don't
mm-hmm,
want them to think that on this podcast we just gonna bag on the kids that want to transfer. We just gonna talk about the parents, because it's also for every parent. I'm not gonna say a bad parent, but for every hovering a helicopter parent that's out there, it's also a parent that's gonna sit back and let you do you, and allow you to nurture their child as a man, as a woman, help them grow, so it's both sides to everything. And I don't want this to be a bashing podcast or for people to think that, because that's not what we about. But like you say, that transfer portal is a whole nother beast. But one more thing I wanted to ask you about was and this is something that we talk about a lot, being coaches, and is I'm losing my train of thought, but just basketball IQ. Let's talk about basketball IQ and the need for it, why it's important, and why we may feel like it's lacking. And I'll kind of start. I go back to what I said about earlier about kids just not watching the game. You
mm-hmm,
know what I'm saying? Like, I was never the best player. I can think of 1,000 people that was better than me, but I was able to walk on at UAPB and get a little playing time against some bigger schools. Not that I played 30 minutes a game, because that wasn't the case, but I was able to make it to the next level because I had a high basketball IQ, which is probably one of the reasons why we doing what we doing now in coaching. I could think three, four plays ahead. I could see stuff that, maybe my teammates couldn't see. And, I played with intelligent basketball players and we made each other better. And so I feel like a lot of that came from just watching ball, whether I was watching people hoop before I got out there to hoop, playing every day, um, watching high school games, watching college games, watching professional games, just watching the game and understanding why did he do this when this happened, understanding reads, understanding adjustments as a player, and then transitioning to being able to understand all that as a coach. So what are your thoughts on basketball IQs?
Definitely, man. It's one of my interesting topics because how point guards we get a little personal about this topic because we all we play the game from a different lens.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think some of basketball IQ is what they promote, man. They don't the they promoting they promoting the guys that get buckets. So a lot of the kids growing up, that's all they want to do is get buckets. They don't really look at they won't look at a guy who's getting buckets and not dribbling 100 times. They're not gonna look at a guy who not wasting a whole lot of energy getting buckets. Like he might look at the stat sheet, he's got 16 and 10 rebounds, and you like, man, I didn't even see him score a bucket. They not looking at those guys. They're not watching the game from that lens. They watching what they promoting, and what they promoting is the guy who can do all these moves and play iso ball. And that's a misconception for sure. Um, but like you said, you got to watch the game, and you gotta really watch it from a different lens and try to understand. All right, the other four guys that's out there that may not be getting all them shots. Um, it's just what they promote. I think that trickle down from a professional level, from a college level, sometimes at the high school level. The guys that's getting the pub, that's getting um, these college offers, and that's what I mean. Those are the guys that's out there getting buckets, and so many times it's almost like it's a waste of time to them. It's just what I feel, and maybe this me defending them. It's like it's a waste of time to try to play this game the right way or try to do these things how somebody else wanted to do it, but that ain't gonna help me get recruited. What's gonna help me get recruited is putting the ball in the hole. So
But okay, so
basketball,
I'm gonna interrupt you right there, and I'm gonna try to not make a habit of that, but I'm gonna interrupt you right there because you are you've been a college coach and you've recruited. So let's speak to what you just said. When you go recruit somebody or coaches that that go recruit, are coaches only looking for kids that get buckets?
no.
Or are coaches looking for kids that can, all right, he understand his role, he gonna play the game the right way, he gonna make that extra pass, he gonna do the dirty work, he not afraid to dive on the floor, take charges? Like, are they looking for those intangibles, or are they just looking for guys that's gonna get buckets? Because kind of what you just said, you made it seem like, to an extent, that I know you thinking of, the high school mindset, but I'm asking you, as somebody that's recruited college athletes, what are you looking for? What are you looking for?
Definitely, definitely. It depends on what my team need at the time. If my team needs scores, I'm going to get guys who get buckets. My team need a point guard. I'm going to try to find me a guard that can get the ball to my guys who get buckets. So, um, and if you can't score, then definitely that hurt our situation. So, we definitely don't want somebody out there that can't score. And I'll be honest with you. It is the intangibles, and we want that person to be able to score. So it may be hard to kind of pinpoint the exact look of what you're looking for. If you can't score at the next level, you won't play. You won't. You won't unless you do something exceptionally well. Unless you like a defender who can stop those guys who can score a lot. If you can stop guys who can score a lot, you will get a chance. But if they coach on the other end start sagging off you and you can't make an open shot, you won't play. I mean, so you gotta be able to score. You have to be able to. But then it come down to the intangibles because, like you said, I'm gonna put you out there with four other guys who all of them can score. If I gave them the option to, all of them can do it. Um, but that's the reality of it on any team. Everybody ain't gonna have equal opportunity. Basketball is not an equal to opportunity game. So the intangibles come into play where if I'm going to recruit a point guard, I want a point guard that can score. But then I got horses. I got dudes that can run the floor. I got dudes that can touch the top of the backboard. I got dudes that can knock. I got shooters that can shoot from the volleyball line. I want a point guard who know how to get them dudes the ball and get his whenever I need him to. Because like any other point guard, it come a point where you got to take over the game. When you making all the reads, I'm gonna put the ball in your hands. Yeah, you got to get it to this big guy. You got to get it to that shooter. And if they foul you, you got to be able to make them free throws. You got to know when it's your turn. It's a lot of good examples. I like this the point guard from K State.
Oh,
Uh,
Noel, Marquise
Noel
Noel.
Noel was a good
Yeah.
example. I think he found a good coach, a good system that was fit for him. But he was a good example of that. When it was his turn to score, he was gonna score. And then when it was his turn, majority of the game, he spent all his time getting the ball to the right people. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that got him his shot in the NBA. I don't think he would have got that otherwise if he didn't show both sides of it. So it's
Yeah.
definitely depending on what position you're looking for, depending on what the rest of your team look like. It's always the intangibles that get you the job. But if you cannot score, you cannot play.
So in a nutshell, with this particular topic of IQ and we kind of even tapered off in the scoring for the collegiate level especially, scoring is important, but it's not the be all end all.
No.
So you have to be able to make an open shot, hit a jump shot when open, things of that variety. But if you can't guard, no coach is gonna put you out there. If you're
Uh-uh.
not willing to, if you're not willing to fight and compete, no coach is gonna put you out there, regardless to how many points you can score. So we're not saying that scoring isn't important, or Malcolm's not saying that scoring isn't important. He's just saying it's not the be all end all. And so I don't want nobody to think that we saying that scoring is everything. It's a lot because at the end of the day, the team with the most points win. But you also got to be able to stop somebody. You also got to be able to play the game the right way. Somebody got to make an extra pass. Somebody got to
Uh-uh.
get a rebound. Somebody got to play defense. So it sounds like basically what we saying to kind of wrap it up is, and I hear a lot of coaches use this cliche phrase now, is you have to be a star in your role. Figure
Uh-uh.
out what your role is and excel in that role. Your team may not necessarily need you to score. Your role may be rebounding, but when you're called on to score, if the coach decides he want to run the play for you, then you have to be able to do that. Even like you said with Noel as the point guard, his role was to get his teammates involved that maybe couldn't get buckets for themselves, but in crunch time with the game on the line, he was gonna take over, put the ball in his hands. If they need a bucket, he gonna get a bucket. But he still never took his eyes off looking for his teammates. And so,
Uh-uh.
uh, is it anything else you want to add to this topic or add to this podcast? Period, man. As we wind down this inaugural episode.
Man, I'm glad we got to put the pen in the pad, man. Got to get this video rolling, man. This a long time coming. All them
Yeah, yeah.
conversations we had. So,
Man,
um,
listen, ton of conversations, man. Ton of conversations. We done sat on here and talked for about 30 minutes. I think we said we was only gonna do 15, 20. It done turned into 30 minutes. So man, it's gonna be real organic on here, man. A lot of just conversations that me and you have already had on a regular basis. Just for our audience, man, we'll have some guests on here. We'll have some coaches. We'll have some players. Man, I know some officials I even want to bring on here. Hopefully we can get some college coaches on here. It's a lot that we want to get on here, that we want to get people involved with. Just to continue to grow this game, man. I'm not an ESPN, guy as far as how they get on there and talk about everything. But I know basketball, and so that's what this podcast is all about. That's why it's called Straight Hooping, because that's what we're gonna get to. We're gonna talk about ball, and we not gonna neglect the female basketball players either. We got not gonna neglect the women. We're gonna have some for y'all. We're gonna incorporate y'all as well within every episode as much as we can. We want this thing to be informative. We want to provide information, but we also want it to be entertaining and just share our love for the game of basketball with you all. So, Malcolm, man, as always, bro, I appreciate you. We signing off. We're looking forward to the next episode where we have some more guests. We're gonna have some guests hopefully on the next episode. We kind of gonna keep that under wraps for right now. So we working on some things, and like I say, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to the Straight Hooping podcast. It's gonna be on YouTube and other platforms, so you can like and subscribe and all that good stuff, man, and be tapped in with us. We appreciate y'all, man. Y'all take it easy.
Salute.